Hey, I'm Mike Mitchner, pastor at Westside Fellowship. I appreciate you checking on Link Mondays with Mike. I hope they're helping you become all that God wants you to be. I hope you're sharing them with people and that they're benefiting others as well. I've been talking about communication a little bit, and again, not necessarily how to correctly communicate what's in your mind to someone else's mind. That's a whole separate conversation. But just about how to keep a free-flowing conversation even available and optional, because sometimes people kind of shut down. And we talked last time about truthing, be speaking the truth, and a leader needs to be someone who is known as a truther, someone who moves around and lives and breathes and talks and speaks in the truth. Today we're going to talk about keeping current. The Bible actually says something about don't let the sun go down on your wrath, and that's in a biblical conversation and in a biblical relationship, it might be a little bit different, but I think that applies to the workforce as well. Oftentimes when we communicate things as leaders, we build walls of resentment, or we didn't quite handle it well, or we were maybe angry at something else when we communicated it, or whatever. But there's things that can kind of put something between us and who we're trying to lead and communicate to. And over time that just builds up, and it causes the person that we're trying to communicate with to listen less and less. And I don't know if you've ever realize this, but if you just have like one mess up conversation, just like one time a week, you communicate in a way that's less than who you really are and what you're really trying to accomplish, and it comes across or is perceived by that person that you're trying to communicate to as mean-spirited or uncaring or self-centered or whatever they may perceive it as. If you just do it once a week and you don't deal with that problem later, and I'm not saying have warm fuzzies all the time with everything you communicate in the workforce, but just one little brick in the wall a week is not that bad. I can maneuver around one brick. I can still communicate over top of just one little brick. But over a year's time, that one brick becomes 52 bricks if I just do it once a week. And if you've ever felt like you were talking to a brick wall when you were trying to communicate with somebody, and this applies with your spouse, with your children, obviously, but even in the workforce and out in the world. If you ever feel like you're communicating clearly, but it's like talking to a brick wall, maybe you are. Maybe you've built up things over time in a way that you're just really talking to something and they've got this resentment, or they've got something that's keeping them from even listening to you well. Again, I used to coach football at Western Alamance High School, and Coach Capps, every once in a while when he sensed that there was something like that going on among the football team, he'd just call a family meeting, and we'd get together after practice, and the kids would just take a knee, and it was a open forum. Anybody could say anything, and we got stuff off our chest. In other words, we tore down the brick wall. Coach understood if he was going to communicate to the kids in a way they could execute the proper game plan, there didn't need to be any bricks in the wall. And so we had those meetings and tear down the walls. Maybe you need to do that with someone on the job site, someone in whatever arena you're communicating in. Make sure that there's free-flowing conversation from you to them and from them to you. Especially as a leader, we need to make sure our people can communicate with us. Sometimes we come across as very intimidating, and we don't want to do that, because if they don't communicate with us, we don't know what's really going on underneath us in the trenches, and we need to know that. So look, keep current, tear the bricks down, because all in all it's just another brick in the wall, but that brick in the wall builds up and we can't communicate. So let's tear them down and be who God's called us to be. Thanks for listening to Mondays with Mike. I'll see you next week.